Okay, in this video, we're going to be I'll be showing you how to factor x squared plus bx plus c when c is negative. Okay, so for example, in your book or in your workbook, the first example looks, the first trinomial they give you is x squared minus x minus 12. Okay, so remember they were talking about how c is negative. So if you look at c, c equals negative 12. Okay, now the rules are pretty much the same. I'm going to rewrite this pretty much the same as the last section, you know, when c was positive. The only difference is that the factoring pattern, because this is negative, your signs will be different. One will be positive, one will be negative. Okay, so one way I like to remember, it's when I see this negative, I think when I multiply a positive number times a negative number, I'll always get a negative. Okay, so now we just have to figure out, you know, well, what are we plugging in here? Well, just like in the last section, okay, you have to think of two integers where if you multiply them, you'll get negative 12, and then when you add them, you're going to get negative 1. Remember, there's like a little invisible 1 right in here, so it's a negative 1. Okay, so when you multiply them, you get a negative 12, but when you add them, you get negative 1. Okay, now this may seem a little bit more complicated just because you know, you can have, I mean, it's a negative. So you can think, all right, well, you know, maybe two factors of negative 12 could be like 1 times negative 12. But remember, it could also, you could switch this up and this could be negative 1 times positive 12. So that's where, you know, can become a little bit, you know, a little bit more complicated. Okay, so in this case, let's look at this. Okay, so we know when we multiply both of these that we'll get negative 12. But remember, so if we add them, let's see, okay, 1 plus negative 12, that gives us negative 11. Remember, we're aiming for a negative 1 here. So we know that this, you know, those are not two factors. Okay, let's see here. Negative 1 and then positive 12. Okay, that gives us positive 11. Okay, because remember, we're trying to find the factors here. If we add them, we get negative 1. Okay, so we know those two don't work. So let's try something else. We could do maybe 2 and 6, or 2 times maybe negative 6, and this one might be negative 2 times positive 6. Okay, but remember, when we add them, we need to get negative 1. Okay, 2 plus negative 6, that gives us negative 4. Okay, so that's not negative 1. Negative 2 plus 6, that gives us positive 4. Okay, so we have to try again. All right, let's try maybe 3 times maybe negative 4, and then negative 3 times positive 4. Okay, when we multiply them, we do in fact get negative 12. But when we add them, let's see what we get. Okay, here we go. 3 plus negative 4, that gives us positive 1. Okay, we're looking for negative 1. Okay, negative 3, oh, I'm sorry. 3 plus negative 4 does give us negative 1. Okay. All right. So it gives us negative 1. So now we can take this 3, since it's a positive 3, it goes right in here. Positive 3. And then since this is the negative 4, it goes over here. We plug that in here. Negative 4. So there we go. I've just factored this trinomial, and I factored it right here. Okay.